So what I'm going to talk about today is coaching. I'm someone who gets brought in sometimes on a consultant basis, sometimes on a contractor basis. It just depends. I get brought in a number of different ways to help organizations become more innovative. And inevitably, while a lot of that is looking at the organization level, a lot of that is training and learning and development and helping people. So I'm, in many ways, already do a lot of coaching. But I recently had an opportunity where someone offered to coach me. And I took him up on it just because I'd never personally had a coach before where it was a long-standing relationship. And so that's what I'm testing out right now. And so this is one of the videos early on in the process where I'm going to share insights. And if you're thinking about using a coach, it might be interesting to hear feedback from someone who is not a coach for a living. So far, it's been okay. One of the interesting ways to frame it was that the way she explained it to me is that whereas psychology and a psychotherapist is really backwards looking. It's looking at your past. A coach is looking forward. And I really liked that distinction. Also, coaching very much tends to involve a lot more of the business and personal development side around your work life, whereas therapy doesn't really seem to do that. So far, that seemed true, although it seems like there's been a lot of overlap. My experience in coaching has been very similar so far to the times I've seen a therapist. The conversation's been good. So far, nothing has really jumped out that has blown my mind as far as like new ways of thinking. I think one of the biggest things that come out of it so far is there's a little bit of accountability in the sense that you don't want to go talk to that person the following week and not have delivered upon what you said you would do for them. But accountability is something that we all understand as if you're a productive person, you know that accountability works as a trick. So you don't necessarily need to pay someone to do that for you if that's something you already have under control. The conversations have been interesting. It's given me some different perspectives, but I will say that I've been working very hard to cultivate a group of people who can give me feedback on a number of different topics for years, right? And find those people. And so I think coaching might be really valuable if that is something that you don't have. And you need someone to give that to you. But if you've been able to build that infrastructure in your life, it may not be as valuable. Another thing is I'm someone who just happens to be very highly motivated just because I learned that early on motivation beats so many other things and that a lot of brilliant people aren't motivated. So if you don't feel like you can hang with them intellectually, if you have drive and persistence, it's amazing how often that beats them. And so I really honed and built motivation from a very, very young age. And I think if you've got that, that's another thing that, I've been told I'm a little weird as a coaching client in the sense that a lot of them are seeking out a coach to get motivation and inspiration. And as someone who already has a lot of that and a lot of drive, that's not really something I need from that. What I have noticed, of course, is this particular coach doesn't have direct subject matter expertise in a lot of the things that I want to grow on. So that's a variable worth mentioning in this particular experience, that it might be if I continue to do coaching, but perhaps from a different coach, I should think about getting someone who has direct experience with the exact topic I need. But my overarching feel here so far is that I'm someone who's skeptical of coaching. Coaching feels to me a little bit like, e-marketing hustler types who are trying to sell me something. And as someone who's very skeptical about that, I'm really curious about what is the coaching experience like for someone who is skeptical about coaching. And so far, there are definitely components of this that would resonate the wrong way. There's other things I noticed of this person who is coaching me. She is part of a formal training program that has been schooled in these practices and methods. And as someone who has familiarity with these, and my sensor goes off pretty early when I feel like I'm hearing something out of directly taken from a framework or a model, that I definitely have picked this up a few times. I've picked up some smooth language and things that touch on like confirmation bias, right? I think a lot of things that therapists do is the outcome of that is just to make you feel good, just to make you feel better. And if you feel better, you'll go on and you'll do more because positive reinforcement is a great motivator. And so far, I'm sensing a little bit of that in the same way that there's a few books I've read recently. Range by, I believe the author's name is James Epstein. It's a wonderful book. And this book is about how generalists tend to do better than specialists. And as a generalist, I felt like this book was speaking directly to me. And all it's saying is, hey, you're going to achieve what you want to subtextually. but it's got a lot of resources and a lot of backup on that. So I got a similar feeling from coaching so far. So at this point, I don't know, I'm gonna do a few more sessions and see how it goes, but I'm not sure it's for me long term. But I just thought I would share this for those of you who don't use coaching and are thinking about it. And as always, I would argue that the particular coach you have matters a lot, in the same way that the therapist you have matters a lot, and that what is the best for one person may not be the best for you. You may need to try someone else. So, hope this is helpful. Peace.